Everybody talks about motivation like it's the magic key to success. But here's the truth. Motivation is a mood. It's here now, gone in 10 minutes. Consistency? That's a habit. That's a choice. That's the thing that gets results when motivation is nowhere to be found. Today, I'm going to show you why consistency will beat motivation every single time, and how you can build it into your life so success becomes inevitable. Imagine if you only brushed your teeth when you felt motivated. How many friends would you have left? And maybe, just maybe, no teeth either. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. They're like the weather. They change without asking your permission. They drift, they disappear, and they certainly can't be trusted to show up when you need them most. But consistency? Consistency is a choice, a decision you make every single day whether you feel like it or not. Your life will be shaped not by the big things you do once in a while, but by the small, often boring actions you do every single day. Most people wait for motivation to arrive before they take action. They think, once I feel inspired, I'll start working out. Once I feel ready, I'll launch that business. Once I'm in the mood, I'll have that difficult conversation. And that's why most people never change. They're waiting for a feeling to change their life. But successful people, they flip the script. They act their way into feeling instead of feeling their way into acting. You don't always feel like going to the gym, but you go anyway. You don't always feel like making the sales call, but you make it anyway. You don't always feel like showing up for your family after a long day, but you show up anyway. That is the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs work when they feel like it. Professionals work until the work is done. When I was writing The Compound Effect, people asked me, how did you write an entire book? The answer is boring. I wrote 2 pages a day, every single day. Some days those pages were terrible. Some days they were great. But I kept going. And page by page, day by day, the book got finished. That's how you build anything meaningful, one consistent action at a time. Here's the problem. Your brain doesn't want you to be consistent. It's not wired for long-term discipline. It's wired for comfort, for safety, for saving energy. Every time you try to do something hard, your brain will whisper, "Not today. You deserve a break. Let's do it tomorrow." That voice is seductive, isn't it? It's reasonable. It sounds like it's looking out for you. But that voice is a liar. That voice is the enemy of your potential. And if you keep listening to it, years from now, you'll look back and realize that the life you could have had, the person you could have become, is gone. Not because you didn't have talent, but because you didn't have consistency. Motivation is emotional fuel, but fuel burns out. Consistency is like building a power plant. It generates its own energy over time. And the only way to beat the resistance in your brain is to make your actions so small, so automatic that they stop being a debate. You don't debate brushing your teeth. You don't negotiate taking a shower. You just do it. That's the place we have to get to with the actions that matter most to your future. I want you to think about this. What's the one thing in your life that if you did it consistently for the next 12 months would completely change your results? Not 50 things. One thing. Is it making 10 sales calls a day? Is it writing for 30 minutes every morning? Is it spending 15 minutes talking with your spouse without a phone in sight? That one thing could transform your income, your health, your relationships, if you did it without fail. The sad truth is, most people know exactly what that thing is. They just aren't doing it. And I'm going to be very clear with you. The problem isn't that you don't have the ability. The problem isn't that you don't have enough motivation. The problem is that you haven't committed to showing up every single day, no matter what. Success isn't sexy. Success is often dull, repetitive, and unglamorous. It's waking up at the same time, doing the same actions day after day, even when it's boring, even when it's inconvenient, even when nobody's watching. That's how champions are made. not in bursts of inspiration, but in the grind of consistency. Let me tell you something I learned early in my career. I once interviewed a top real estate producer who was breaking records in her market. Everyone thought she had some magical strategy. But when I asked her, she said, "I just call 5 people every day, without fail. Doesn't matter if I'm tired. Doesn't matter if it's raining. Doesn't matter if I close a deal or not. 5 people a day. That's it. That's the secret." And because she stuck to it, day after day, she built an empire. Now, you might think that's too simple, but that's exactly why it works. Complexity is the enemy of consistency. The more moving parts, the more chances you give yourself to procrastinate. Keep it simple, keep it small, keep it daily. The magic isn't in the size of the action, the magic is in the repetition. The people you admire most aren't the ones who do something amazing once in a while. They're the ones who keep showing up long after the excitement is gone. Think about the great athletes. They're not in the gym only when it's fun. They're there when it's early, when it's cold, when it's uncomfortable. Think about world-class musicians. They don't practice just when they're in the mood. They practice every single day, sometimes for hours, whether inspiration strikes or not. That's what separates the great from the average. Not talent, not luck, but the discipline to keep going when the feelings have faded. And here's something I need you to hear. Feelings are terrible leaders. If you follow your feelings, you'll be inconsistent, unpredictable, and unreliable. But if you follow your commitments will lead you to greatness. The moment you let your feelings decide, you've already lost, because feelings will always find a reason to quit. Your commitments will always find a way to keep going. Let me tell you a quick story. Years ago, I decided to run a half marathon. I'm not a runner by nature, but I made a decision that I would train every morning, 6 days a week. And here's the thing, about 60% of the time, I didn't feel like training. I had excuses ready. I didn't sleep enough. It was too cold. I was busy. But I had made a deal with myself. I run no matter what. And guess what? Every single day I finished the run, I was glad I did it. Not once did I regret showing up. But every time in life I've skipped something I knew I needed to do, I've regretted it. That's the funny thing about consistency. You rarely regret the work you do, but you almost always regret the work you skip. So, how do you become consistent when everything in you wants to quit? It comes down to 4 things. The first is deciding and committing. Not wishing, not hoping. Deciding. There's a big difference between "I'll try" and "I will." "I'll try" means you're still negotiating. "I will" means the negotiation is over. Most people leave the back door open. They give themselves a way out before they've even started. Burn the ships, close the back door, make the decision, and cut off all other options. The second is starting small. Way too many people start with something so big, so intense, that they burn out a week. They sign up for the gym and try to go for 2 hours a day when they've never worked out before. They commit to writing 1,000 words a day when they haven't written in months. And after a few days, they stop. Not because they're lazy, but because they started at a level they couldn't sustain. The secret is to start so small it's almost laughable. 5 push-ups a day, 1 sales call, 10 minutes of reading. Do it every day until it's automatic and then add more. That's how you build momentum. That's how you win. The third is protecting your environment. If you hang out with inconsistent people, guess what you'll become? Inconsistent. If your desk is a mess, if your schedule is chaotic, if your phone is a constant distraction, you are setting yourself up to fail. Your environment has to support your commitment. That means surrounding yourself with people who show up, creating a space that invites focus, and removing temptations before they remove your discipline. And the fourth is tracking relentlessly. What gets measured gets improved. If you don't track your actions, you're relying on memory, and memory is biased. You'll overestimate how often you're showing up and underestimate how often you're skipping. When you track, you face the truth. And the truth will either confirm you're on track or it'll push you to step up. Either way, you win. These 4 steps, decide and commit, start small, protect your environment, and track relentlessly, will make you unstoppable. Not because they're magical, but because they turn consistency from an emotional decision into a practical habit. And once something becomes a habit, you don't need motivation to do it. You just do it. Let me be very clear. Success doesn't require brilliance. It doesn't require perfect timing. It doesn't even require that you love what you're doing every second of the day. It requires consistency. And the good news is, consistency is a skill. You can build it. You can strengthen it. You can make it your superpower. But I'll warn you, the world will not make it easy for you. There will be distractions, temptations, and